What is happening, good people? This is your Supreme Lord Commander here with a special tutorial on how to use Beatmaker 3. This is a beginner's guide to Beatmaker 3. We are going to go over all the basics in this. We're not going to get too deep into it. We'll do that in later videos. But we're going to start off with a basic introduction. So if you have not used Beatmaker 3 or you're about to use it or you want to know the basics of Beatmaker 3, this is the video for you! Alright, so let's start right now without any further ado. We'll click on the Beatmaker 3 icon, and this is what we get. You're going to get this every time you log on to Beatmaker 3. So you've got a few options to choose from here. You can start a new session, you can open a previous session, you can open their quick start guide, which is a good thing to do to learn the basics of it. Other than watching this video, of course, you've got some of your previous sections on the right hand side. At the bottom you can visit the sound store to purchase more sound packs, or you can log into Facebook. I don't know why you'd want to, but anyways, let's do what most people would do, which is, of course, click on a new session. So this is exactly where it goes right after. You've got a bunch of blank pads here, and as you can see, I'm clicking on them. There's no sound that's coming out of them. So on your left hand side, you have your banks. This will automatically load every time. So this is so you can quickly start making a song. We're going to take a look over at the top left hand corner here to look at some of the options. So the first one, which is the one that we're clicked on right at the top here next to the X, of course, is the magnifying glass, which is to look into your sessions, your banks, and your samples. Next to that, you have your folders here that you can add. You can change your bank presets, you can change your effect presets, you can bring in exports, imports. You can go to your inbox, you can do all these different things. Then you have, of course, the shopping cart, which would open up the Beatmaker sound store. So if you want to purchase more instruments and sound banks, you can do so. And then you've got your gear over here, which takes you to your MIDI settings and offers you the manual if you need to read it, to their website. You got their Twitter and all that. You got your MIDI settings here that you can get into, and then you've got your audio here with your output sample rate, your latency, and your recording bit depth. Okay, so basically when we come in, we're going to be under this one here and in banks. Now banks here are all the packs that come with Beatmaker 3, as you can see. Now when you click on samples, you can add your own samples, of course. Or you can choose from the samples that are already preloaded. So a lot of these things like Donk Nation and stuff like that, Doom Bass, are part of Beatmaker 3. There's a few in here. For instance, the Animoog, that's stuff that I put in myself. So say if we start off with banks, and we're going to start off with a basic song. Everybody wants to know, once you download this program and open it up for the first time, how do I start recording? So let's just start off by loading a few kits up so that we can get into the process of creating a song. So I'm going to start off with loading some drum kit, actually. Let's see, this one here, Summer Drums. We'll load that kit in, and all of a sudden there's the kit, and you can't hear it yet. I gotta plug in my iPad here. So you've got your basic drum kit here with your kick and your snare and your percussion, your hi-hats, your mid-toms, low toms, high toms, crash cymbals, stuff like that. Just basic kit. So that'll do. Now I'm going to load a couple more. So I'm going to go up at the top here where you saw. Now I pushed on. Now I'm going to load another kit into the B bank here. And as you see, you have 16 different kits that you can load into each bank. But we're just going to load one here. I want to load maybe a bass sound here. Let's see. What's this? TPK Beat Bassy. Okay, we'll try to load that. Alright, so we got a basic bass sound. And I'm going to load one more thing here. I think I'm going to load a synthesizer. Maybe I'll try this summer organ here. We'll load that. See how that sounds? Ooh, I like that. It's jazzy. Alright, so we've got 3 instruments loaded now. We haven't created anything yet, so we have to go back to our different options here. On the left hand side, as you see, you have just below here. So that's the 3 lines is how to get into all your kits and stuff like that and get into your basic option. You've got your Ableton link just below that if you want to hook up with Ableton Live and do a live recording session. You've got here, which we've got selected, which is the 16 bars. So this is your basic, right, your pads here that you can get into. And you can mess around, of course, using the trigger and the fixed velocity. We'll save that for another thing. I just want to do the basics here. And then you've got your actual wave files here that you can see and you can mess around with if you want to. We'll get into the slicing and all that in another video, in a future video sort of thing. If we click down here, then we've got our sort of song mode here, which anybody who has a DAW like Ableton Live or Logic or so many other ones out there would be familiar with. And here are our instruments. So we have our summer drums here, our TPK ZA bassy, and our summer organ. There's also, if you want to use audio, maybe hook up a microphone or something like that, but we'll save that for another time. So I'm going to start off here setting the loop that I want to set for the first thing. So if you want to set a loop, here is your loop up here, and you can see how many bars. So we're going to stretch this to 2 bars here, and we're going to start off with a drum loop, okay? So going back to the pads, here's our drum kit. Now, up here in the top center, you have your basic functions. So this here, when I click on where the 90 is, you see in the 4/4, this is your tempo settings. So you have your beat per minute. You can tap it to set it, or you can click on the icon or the arrows here, or easier still is to click on the beat per minute and then drag your finger up or down to raise or lower the tempo sort of thing. Let's put it at 100 just for fun sort of thing. We have also our time signature, which we can change. We have our swing settings, which you can get into, and then you have your swing sync, what you can sync it to. So if you want to change it to 1/16 or 1/8, we'll just leave it as it is. This is just a basic introduction so that it gets you off and running, and then we'll get into each of the more complex things that you can do with these. So we're going to start off with a basic 2-bar pattern of drums here. I'm just going to start off by right next to where the tempo settings here, you have this bullseye. You want to click on that to activate it, and then once you hit the record button, you have a short metronome count in, and then you'll be live, ready to go. Here we go. So those are basic. So my timing is a little bit off on that, so what we're going to do here is just look at the keys themselves. So we'll go into here and we'll double click on that. We can move this guy so now all of a sudden our timing's better. And in this mode here, you can add other things if you want. Like, so we've got our whole drum kit here. So we might want to put a hi-hat in here. Okay, so that's a basic sort of drum pattern that we can work with. So that's your step editor. This is your step editor here. It's pretty self-explanatory. You've got some functions down here in which you can select, so you can choose to select and copy and paste and stuff. You also have whether you want to put full bars or put individual notes like I just did there. So if you want to get rid of that, you go back here and you just double click it, or you just click it and it's gone. Okay, so we're going to leave this pattern like this, and we're going to go now to our next instrument here, which is our bass here. So let's get to our keyboard here. So now we can decide what we want to play to start off here. So I'm just going to play a basic sort of drum line here. So as you see, when you're in your instrument mode here, you have all different macros that you can mess around with. And we'll get into this stuff in a future video. Alright, so you have all different sort of options here that you can get into. So let's go back to our song mode here, and we'll take a look at what we got. So we can here go into select. So we're going to go and we're going to select this, and then we're going to double it, sort of thing. Now we can move this over so we can now be in our second part of the loop and add our third instrument, sort of thing. So we're going to add our summer organ here. So we will go back to our pads, we will open up the keyboard, and then we'll play around with things. We'll try to come up with... Okay, so I figured out what I'm going to do. So here we go. We're going to get the record. Now it loops, so you don't have to do it right away. You can take your time, or you can mess it up and re-record it, sort of thing again. So let's just go. Alright, so that could be good for a first thing. Now we can come back here, and what I'm going to do again is select just these two, and I'm going to double them again, and then I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to put the second part to my pattern with the summer organ here. So I click on the summer organ, back to here, click on the bottom. So, and then we'll just... Alright, so I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to hit the record. And if I don't like that, or I'm not happy with something, I can go into the step editor, double click on that, and then I've got my step editor here, and I can add if I want. There. Back to our step editor here, and we'll leave the screen here, go back to our pads here. I want to go back to our song, and there you go. So this was just a basic sort of introduction to show you how to get up and running to start a song. I'm going to go much more in depth with this program, and perhaps in the next video show you how to use other apps at the same time, load them into Beatmaker, and mess around with them. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something, that you give me a thumbs up, and you subscribe to the channel, and you can click on the bell if you want to be notified the next time I put up a video. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day.